I'm ranking the 20 best Star Wars characters, and I'm not holding back, because in this list I'll be combining those who are widely considered the best with my own personal favorites as well. I mean, while some of these have very compelling arcs and really changed the Star Wars universe, I can't even lie that some just look cool. But make sure to stick with me till the end because your favorite character might not even make the top 5. However, I'm assuming many of you don't agree with the 20th best character, who on this list is Savage Opress. Savage is a perfect example of wasted potential. And not as a character, but in the story itself, because while his Sith brother Darth Maul gets all the credit, Savage had many incredible feats himself, such as taking on Anakin and Obi-Wan at the same time successfully, saving his long-lost brother Maul who had descended into madness, and even holding up against Darth Sidious in a duel for a long time where he met his tragic end. Also, we can't forget this iconic moment that cements him as a legendary character.
I am Maul. This is Savage.
But Savage would have been half as powerful without Count Dooku, who trained him in the art of lightsaber dueling. But being the best lightsaber duelist in the galaxy is not the reason Dooku is so beloved by the fans. You see, Dooku was a respected Jedi trained by Yoda that left the Jedi Order after believing them to be corrupt, which is ironic considering he would become the apprentice to Darth Sidious, also known as Chancellor Palpatine, who literally was rotting the Republic from the inside out. But many fans, like myself, have found the tragedy of Dooku very compelling, and the fact that Sir Christopher Lee plays him in the movies just makes him even cooler. But one essential character who doesn't get enough love is Leia Organa. Despite being the daughter of Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala, she somehow has a huge legacy that isn't even tied to them. Leia was a major leader of the Rebel Alliance by the age of 19 and helped the rebellion to win the battles of Yavin, Hoth, and even Endor, which turned the tide of the war. And unlike some characters, Leia does not let anyone boss her around. Her sass and sarcastic comments are one of the many traits that make the original trilogy's cast so iconic. After marrying Han Solo, she would have a son, Ben Solo, whose story is just as interesting.
What did you say?
Okay, I know. Kylo Ren is from the sequels, but then again, I'd argue he's one of the redeeming factors of that trilogy. Ben had a full arc throughout his life from aspiring Jedi to supreme leader of the First Order before rising again as a Jedi to defeat a resurrected Emperor Palpatine. While more could have definitely been done with his character, Kylo Ren's storyline with Rey made him very interesting, especially towards the end of the trilogy, and you can just tell that Adam Driver went all out with this role as well.
I'm being torn apart.
Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Kanan Jarrus, on the other hand, was the definition of a true Jedi. Coming from the time of Order 66, this Rebels character has every reason to turn to the dark side, and yet he remains pure. Training Ezra to become a Jedi, continuing to fight for the rebellion after being blinded by Darth Maul,
Formerly Darth, now just Maul.
And then helped to save the rebellion at the Battle of Atollon with the help of Bendu, a powerful creature in the Force. Also, Kanan's death marked one of the few times I have ever cried while watching Star Wars, which proves that this character was very well crafted. And pretty much the exact opposite of Kanan Jarrus is Darth Bane, who I'm only putting on this list because I've recently begun reading the Darth Bane series of novels by Drew Karpyshyn, which I must recommend as they paint Bane as not only a captivating and tragic monster, but also a key part of the Star Wars timeline. While you may know him from how he started the role of 2, there's more, because Darth Bane actually exterminated the entire Brotherhood of Darkness under the rule of Lord Khan with the use of a thought bomb, which was a weapon he gave to them that through the use of a ritual wiped all out within its blast radius from existence. This means that the Sith being extinct for a millennium, as was said by Conehead here, was all because of Bane. Crazy stuff. And yet what is even crazier is that the lifespan of Chewbacca, our next character, is an entire quarter of the time that passes between Darth Bane and the start of the Clone Wars. However, Chewbacca's greatest trait is his loyalty to his friends. We see this in the movie Solo, as well as throughout the original trilogy with his buddy Han Solo. And while he might not trust you on sight, as we see with Luke in A New Hope, give this Wookiee a little bit of time, and you will soon find no better friend in the galaxy. In case you haven't gathered this so far, this is a list of the top 20 best characters, not necessarily my top 20 favorite characters, but I still had to include a few of my personal favorites, like Plo Koon, who for one has an incredible appearance, which is basically just Darth Vader if he was a Jedi, if you think about it. But also, he was an incredibly wise and sympathetic leader towards the Jedi around him, like Ahsoka Tano, who he discovered, but also to the clone troopers he led into battle. Although the one Jedi I like more than Plo Koon is Kit Fisto. This green Jedi not only looks even cooler than Plo, but also has one of the most charming personalities in all of Star Wars. I mean, my guy is just smiling in the middle of this arena here, fighting battle droids and enjoying himself. What a legend. Also, he defeated General Grievous in a duel and was able to survive longer than any Jedi against Darth Sidious in Revenge of the Sith, except for Mace and Yoda, that is. But next up is a character who uses lightsabers but isn't a Jedi, and certainly isn't a Sith. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess who. Okay, time's up. I'm talking about Ahsoka Tano, who had a full hero's journey arc, from annoying Padawan fresh off of Coruscant to an experienced Jedi commander to leaving the Order after being framed for a bombing on the temple she didn't commit, and then coming around full circle as a warrior who fought for what was right on Mandalore, with the Rebellion, and even against Thrawn years later. Here are some honorable mentions for this list that I couldn't include in this video.
General Grievous has fled.
I'm one with the Force is with me.
Come get it! You have lost.
Although R2-D2 is the true hero of Star Wars. I mean, think about it. In literally every situation in the movies, when all hope is lost, R2 comes in clutch and saves the day. And also, he's been with us ever since the opening scene. Enough said. Another leader among the droids is General Grievous, also known as Qui-Gon Jinn, and Grievous started as a Kaleesh warlord who helped his people fight off against the brutal Hux species until the Jedi stepped in, siding with the Hux and allowing for the Kaleesh people to starve. This set a permanent hatred in Grievous, even into the Clone Wars, where he trained under Count Dooku, becoming a killing machine that would go on to collect the lightsabers of many Jedi, including Nadar Veb for his collection. I couldn't live with myself without including Qui-Gon Jinn on this list, who has been a favorite of mine since childhood. Qui-Gon possesses a sort of wisdom and warmth that few other Jedi possess, and is just as fearless, willingly fighting against a Sith Lord he knows to be more powerful than himself without hesitation. In Legends, his story goes even deeper, with Qui-Gon having 2 apprentices before Obi-Wan, the second of which, Xanatos, turned to the dark side. But my personal favorite character in all of Star Wars, who is the number 7 spot on this list, is Cad Bane. While many would argue Darth Vader to have the most aura from any character, if you ask me, Cad Bane is the embodiment of aura. Dude straight up completed the craziest missions in the Clone Wars again after again, wore a breathing apparatus that prevented Force sensitives from force choking him, and even held his own when being the target of a Force mind trick from 3 different powerful Jedi. Also, Tales of the Underworld greatly expanded his origins and overall character arc as a ruthless bounty hunter. I'll admit that my favorite goes back and forth between him and Kit Fisto because they are both equally cool, but our next 2 characters are also gunslingers, that being Han Solo at 6 and Cassian Andor at 5. Han is a character we see go from a self-serving, cold-blooded smuggler who kills without hesitation and sees no value in helping others for no reward, but by the end of the original trilogy, he is shaped into a loyal friend to Luke and Leia, as well as a legendary rebellion general who the battles of Yavin and Endor could not have been won without. Not to mention, he's easily the funniest character on this list, and possibly in all of Star Wars, although Jar Jar is a close contender for sure. But Cassian Andor, despite also being a quote-unquote blaster hero, so to speak, is a polar opposite. Me and many other fans have found Cassian's story so inspiring from the sheer grit and sacrifice he had to go through by giving up everything to the rebellion. I find him so moving as well because like Han, we see him go from close-minded on topics such as the Force to slowly understanding the value of this along with helping those in need as the story progresses. But next is a character who lost everything as well and remained a good person. I'm talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan lost his master Qui-Gon when he was just a Padawan at the age of 25, then the apprentice and man he had come to know as a good friend, Anakin Skywalker, he was forced to cut down in battle. On top of this, his lover and all of his friends and basically family were taken away, so Obi-Wan was left to watch over the last hope of the Jedi on Tatooine.
There is another.
Despite all of this, Obi-Wan always stuck to the Jedi Code and lived a legendary life, defeating many legendary Sith and warriors, being one of the best generals of the Republic during the Clone Wars, and even starting Luke's path as a Jedi who himself would go on to save the galaxy. But more on that in a second. Before we cover our top 3, we first have the Christian advice of this video, and if you want to get back to the main video, then you can skip to this time right here. And basically my only advice, which is somewhat given from God in a sense of how inspired I am to say this, but it is simply the idea that I think you, me, all of us should really make this the best summer we possibly can. I know many of you guys, aren't, on summer break from high school or college or anything, so summer isn't really that different from the rest of the year, but even with that in mind, to me personally, I think summer is just a part of the year where I'm much more motivated and happy to really just pursue the things I want to, and I really think we should all just strive to, make some change in our lives and really just push past a boundary that's been keeping us down for years. I mean, really, try and dig into yourself and think about something that's kept you limited. That's what I'm trying to do with a certain aspect of my life, which I won't get into in this video, but maybe in a future one. Anyway, I think it's something that we can all do, and I feel like it would be great if maybe even these videos can inspire you a little bit by how, fire they are. I don't know, maybe I'm going a little too far there, but yeah, let's get back to the video. Just a quick reminder that you can subscribe if you do enjoy this content, as it does very much support me and the channel to put out more videos like this one. But yeah, let's get back to it. At number 3 is Darth Maul. Already in The Phantom Menace, Maul was one of the most threatening villains in cinema history, from his wicked appearance to his double-bladed lightsaber, but it wasn't until the Clone Wars that he really became legendary. But his resurrection was arguably a bad choice considering the ripple effect of returning from the dead Star Wars characters. However, it did give us a new version of Maul, who abandoned, had to start his own plans and power in the galaxy without the help of his former master, becoming a significant crime lord in the galaxy that terrorized the Jedi, Sith, and Mandalorian authorities alike. On a lighter note, our number 2 spot goes to Luke Skywalker, who, like Ahsoka Tano before, had a legendary hero's journey. From whiny farm boy to struggling Jedi Padawan to stoic conflicted Jedi Knight, Luke's transformation throughout the original trilogy is always one of the most compelling aspects of this beloved trio of films. Good thing nothing happened to him after this. However, the undisputed peak Star Wars character is Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. With a trilogy and a half dedicated to him, as well as a 7-season show, Anakin's rise out of slavery to a legendary Jedi Knight and pilot, to his fall by the hand of Chancellor Palpatine into the dark side, where he helps to exterminate the entire Jedi Order, becoming the Sith Lord Darth Vader, up until his redemption by killing the Emperor and saving his son Luke, all at the cost of his own life, is one of the most interesting, deep, tragic, and moving stories in modern art. But what's a good Star Wars character without a disturbingly high kill count? To find out the character with 155 billion kills, click this video right now.